Yeah, we're good. So yeah, when Coco fell, he's fractured his bone at his radius and his ulna. So on a little, does that show up on the video? So he's broken his bone just here and here. In addition to that, he's broken this little tiny metacarpal, so it's inside his hand joint there. But the thing that's going to make it really tricky is he's also broken 2 metacarpals on this hand, and so like down here and here. And in cats, when they stand, they really only use the strength in those 2 middle toes. These toes are just kind of lateral stabilizers. So the fact that he's broken both of them is because he tried to land on them, and he's gone snap, 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 snap as he's landed. And remember we talked about he had some blood from his mouth. He has fractured the top of his palate, like the hard palate, but thankfully it's been cracked, but it hasn't displaced or separated. So when I look inside his mouth, the actual mucosa or the skin on the top of his mouth hasn't actually torn and ripped, which means he doesn't need surgery.
So that means that's gonna stick again?
Yeah, it will. It'll actually heal itself up pretty nicely. When he landed, he smashed his top left canine through his lip and broken the canine off. And then when I took the x-rays, I found the tip of the canine is actually wedged under the skin inside his lip. So remember we saw that blood around his mouth?
So the blood, I didn't want to touch anything.
No, when I squeezed it, it's got half a tooth inside it, and so he's broken the tooth off. So that's his injuries. He's got radial fracture, ulnar fracture, metacarpal fracture, metacarpal fracture, metacarpal fracture, hard palate fracture, tooth fracture. And so let me show you the x-rays. So he has some what's called pulmonary contusion. So when he's landed, he's whacked his chest on the ground, and normally this would all be black, and you can see that it's pretty black in this area here, but through here and through here it's a little bit white because there's some fluid, and it's probably a little bit of blood that's come in there. Cats are very strong animals, and so he's got a lot of respiratory reserve. So the fact that he has bruised his lungs quite badly, there's nothing we need to do about that. In a day's time or so, he'll actually be back to being normal. Yeah, oh that's the catheter. So that's where he has an intravenous catheter. So this is his fracture up there. Yeah, I'll show you a better photo. So I've taken an x-ray of his spine to make sure that's okay, his bladder, and he's got no bruising or blood from his spleen or his kidneys, which is good. And his hips are okay, and his back legs are okay. So that's good. So this is, that's his good leg. And so that's not a fracture, that's a growth plate. Because he's still young and growing, the bones have not fused, and so that's actually healthy. Normal elbow, normal radius and ulna. You can see there's a little fracture in there. So I think I've got that. Oh no, that's not it. Where is it? So that's his right arm, and so you can see that this bone is fractured and this bone is fractured, and see the end, the growth plate on that one is fractured as well, which is going to be really tricky to heal. But normally in cats we put a plate on the radius, which is the big bone here, and then this bone will sort itself out. However, because he's damaged the growth plate, we'll actually need to put that back on. Maybe it's not. Yeah, that's right. And if you measure that, that's kind of
less than 1 mil or something.
Yeah, so from there to there is about 8 millimeters across. Yeah, so less than a centimeter. And so that's probably the most important fracture. And then I have somewhere here. Oh, here we go. So this is his fingers. So can you see on his right hand,
Yeah.
you can see there's a fracture here on that metacarpal, so that's a central one. We probably wouldn't actually fix that because this bone and this bone will actually support it, like having a splint on either side, and he won't be using that leg for a while because you'll need that to be fixed, so it'll actually be in a bandage for a while, so that'll probably sort itself out. But the problem is that no wonder he's not walking on both feet, because he's like, I don't have a foot that's not painful. And so you can see here he's fractured through there and through there, and so he's tried to walk when he landed and the person found him, he's trying to get somewhere, and as he's tried to walk, he's actually displaced that, so it's kind of overridden, and so that's why it's overlapping. And so we might actually need to put 2 tiny little pins in there to support that, because, like, remember when I said when cats are walking, they're only really balancing on these 2 feet, so both of these are broken, these 2 fingers, so they're broken, so it's hard for him to walk on the outside ones, so we need to fix them. I won't be able to show you that the x-rays I took of his mouth. I haven't charged you any more money, but I used the dental x-ray, so it's in a different spot. But there is a skull picture here, and so the things that we're checking with this is that none of his orbit has been fractured, his jaw is okay, but I can show you. I've got one here where you can actually see his little tooth. Oh yeah, can you yeah, so you can see